Jeremy Mayfield in a new role for 2024, and drivers making their debut with new teams.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. Got a few things to cover here today. Obviously, Jeremy Mayfield making some news this week. A new role for him. We're going to be talking about that, plus some drivers who are getting in cars for the very first time with new teams this weekend at Richmond and SVG. Very cool week for him as well. But let's start out right here with the man of the hour. That is Jeremy Mayfield. Now, if you follow my show, you know I like to keep up with Jeremy. I like to keep up with his racing, and he hasn't stopped. Man has not stopped. Out there running dirt late models, running asphalt late models, the Cars Tour, Grand National Super Series, and continuing to race, continuing to win. And now he's taking on a new role in his racing career, which I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see this happen. And he's joining the team over there at Carteret Speedway. And it's going to be exciting. Going to be exciting for him. See if this is his future in promotion and things like that. But joining the team over there is going to be working as far as with the competition, putting things together. Going to be working with the marketing department. Also going to be working with community partnerships around the area to attract more people to the racetrack. What better way to attract people than to have Jeremy Mayfield there with you? So a really cool deal for them. And I'm excited for him. Excited for everybody involved with that. And hey, if you've ever wanted to work at a racetrack, Carteret Speedway is looking for help right now. So if you're in the area, you yourself could be out there enjoying the summer at the racetrack with Jeremy Mayfield. So how cool would that be? So if you're in the mood to get out there and work at a racetrack, check out carteretspeedway.com. You can check their social medias, get in touch with them, get out there and have some fun and enjoy some great racing throughout this season. But for anybody who's afraid that Jeremy is not himself going to be racing this year, never fear. As a matter of fact, Jeremy has already been out there behind the wheel this year. Last weekend at Caraway Speedway, driving in the Challenger Division, 35-lap main event, bringing it home with a fourth-place finish. So Jeremy already got that racing bug this year and out there having fun with it. And also outside of that, he's got plans to run the Grand National Super Series full-time in 2024. Now, if you're not familiar with this series, you need to check it out as well. Once again, this is a series that I follow. I've always loved the rule package. They just started a couple years ago. This is the third season with it. And this was a series put together by racers, for racers. And it's got a lot of people from the past, a lot of great Frank Kimmel, Jeremy Mayfield. You got A.J. Hendrickson out there, and a former champion in this series. And again, they got a cool rule package, so much good racing. You can check them out on YouTube. They have their own channel here where they show the races live, and just so many cool things. Jeremy out there in off season doing tire testing with them and getting ready for this 2024 season. The last 2 years, he's had multiple wins each season in this series, and last year was actually leading the points, stepped away for a little bit, and came back with his own car. Prior, he was driving a house car for the series, a couple different of the house cars, but came back with his own car, mean-looking ride that he had out there, and going to be back out there once again for full season. So check that out and keep up with everything that he's doing, because Jeremy is still out there racing. And, man, this is what I find ironic. Had everything not happened to Jeremy the way that it did with the Cup Series, chances are he'd have been retired a few years ago, and we might never heard any more about him with racing. But I love this fact. He's still out there racing, and I will continue to tell you everything about what he's doing. So follow the show for more updates on that. Now let's talk about somebody that I think is really making waves in NASCAR. It's very rare in any form of professional sports that you join a division, a series, and within your very first year, you already have things of yours in the Hall of Fame. But that is exactly what has happened for Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG obviously winning that inaugural race at Chicago, and NASCAR has wanted to embody that. They've said, hey, we got to show this to the people. We got to give the fans what they want. And what they did was they created a display at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. SVG out there for the debut this past week. You can see some of his memorabilia in this display itself. and really cool for him to be part of this. And man, I got to say, I think NASCAR has in so many ways just embraced everything about SVG. And it's really cool because he's a very likable guy, obviously mad talent. And to be a champion of another division coming into this sport, really cool to see. And obviously didn't have the best start to his Cup Series as far as 2024 last weekend at COTA, had some mechanical issues, but still several races left in that 16 car this year on different styles of tracks. Will not be surprised to see him in victory lane again this season, but really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do throughout the rest of the year. And as I say, I think so many drivers out there, they have really respect for SVG in so many ways. And if you look at the race last weekend, the Xfinity race at COTA, him and Austin Hill beating and banging, almost wrecking different times. And I really expected after the race, Austin Hill to be a little bit more upset. You know Austin Hill, you know, he's not afraid to get out and punch somebody. He's not afraid to say what he feels, but he was pretty reserved following the race. And I think he knows as well, this is a champion right here I'm going to be racing against for many years to come, because I do see both of these guys full-time in the Cup Series really, really soon. But again, SVG back in that car for several more races. And also just announced this weekend, another driver getting into that 16 car. Throughout the offseason, there was a lot of talk about this one driver possibly filling the role in that 16 car. Obviously, AJ Allmendinger going out of the car as far as full-time racing to go back to Xfinity. AJ still running a handful of races throughout the season in the 16 Cup car, as well as some other drivers. But it was announced this week that the long-awaited name that we thought was possibly going to be in this car is in there this weekend at Richmond Speedway, and that is Ty Dillon, who will make his debut for Kaulig Racing. And going to be interesting here to see what he does. He's in a good car, he's in good equipment, and the opportunity for him to display some driving talent and see what happens with this. He's got, I think, 5 more races this season in the car. And again, there's a handful of drivers in this car this year. You got Derek Kraus, you've got Josh Williams and AJ. And right now, I believe there's 13 races that still have not been named a driver for yet. So it's a great opportunity for Ty to get out there and audition for some more of these races, possibly bring in some sponsorship to go along with that. Or we'll see if they bring somebody else in to this car throughout the season. But another story we're going to keep on following. And as long as we're on the story, the topics of a driver getting in a car for the very first time this weekend, let's talk about this guy right here. A super nice guy and a fan favorite by so many, Matthew DeBenedetto, started out this year without a ride. A very rocky season the last 2 or 3 years. Obviously, getting out of the Cup car, going back to the Truck Series, not having a ride for the 2024 season, but just announced that he is joining with Viking Motorsports. A new team, not necessarily a new team, but a new team under this banner. And this team was formed by the CEO of SciAps. Now, if you're familiar with SciAps, you've seen them on the side of different Xfinity cars over the seasons. And this year, CJ McLaughlin been in the car. CJ, a regular entrant in the SciAps car. Unfortunately, in a few races, failed to make a couple of the races. So they made some decisions to bring Matty D over there. And he is going to get in that car this weekend to make his debut at Richmond Speedway. And it's something I'm looking forward to see what they can do. You know, obviously the team is not at the competitive level that a lot of the top teams are or anything, but still a great story for these guys. And CJ McLaughlin, I've met him, I've talked to him different times in the past, a really great guy. So it's really neat to see some very likable guys with this team. And I wish them the best. I'd love to see this team grow and be able to compete. You know, again, they started out with partnership with RSS Racing. Didn't work out. So doing their own thing right now under that Viking Motorsports banner. And could be the beginning of something beautiful right here. But going to be a lot on their backs right now to make things happen. But got a sponsorship out there. They got Williamsburg contracting on the side of it for this weekend. So already off to a good start right there. And something we're going to follow. And hopefully some good things come out of this. But anyways, how do you feel about everything we've talked about here today? Jeremy Mayfield. Like I say, I like to keep up with Jeremy you go back, you can see a lot of my episodes from last year, deal with the topic of Jeremy and what he's been doing, because I think it's a great story to continue to follow and something I will continue to do. But what do you think about all these things happening? Ty Dillon, you think it's going to work out? You think we're in for a good finish? Or could this be the beginning of the end for him? And Matty D back in NASCAR. Great story for him. Looking forward to all this. But anyways, I hope everybody out there has a great, happy Easter weekend. And say hello to the family for me. And again, if you want to go out there and check out Carteret Speedway, carteretspeedway.com, or any of their Facebook pages or social media pages, kicking off here in a couple weeks with their regular season. Caraway kicking off next week, 7 p.m. with their season. So a lot of short track racing going on. Stuff I like to cover. It's race season. But anyways, hope everybody out there has had a great week. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.